What happened after the final? Several football figures have finally broken their silence. An Argentine legend described the match against Egypt as the toughest game of the entire tournament. Meanwhile, Lamine Yamal shared his thoughts on Lionel Messi after the World Cup final. Inside Argentina's dressing room, the players also delivered heartfelt messages to their captain following their journey in the final. Before the video begins, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the result of this final truly reflected the way the match unfolded? If you enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and turn on notifications so you won't miss our latest videos. Argentina legend. The match against Egypt was the toughest game of the tournament. Javier Zanetti, an Argentina National Team legend, praised the outstanding performance delivered by the Egypt national team against the Albiceleste at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. On their journey to the World Cup final, Argentina defeated Egypt in the round of 16 in a thrilling encounter. The match sparked controversy over the referee's decisions before Messi and his teammates eventually secured a 3-2 victory within 90 minutes, despite the Albiceleste trailing by 2 goals until the 79th minute. Zanetti revealed what he considered Argentina's most difficult moment of the World Cup. His remarks came while he was working as a match analyst at the stadium hosting the World Cup final between Argentina and Spain, alongside former Egypt international Ahmed El Mohammadi. Speaking with great admiration, Zanetti said, "Egypt played an outstanding match. They really made things difficult for us and made it incredibly hard to secure the victory." The Inter Milan legend did not stop there. He went on to praise Egypt's technical quality and tactical organization, saying, "Egypt proved that they have an exceptional group of players and a very well-organized team on the pitch." Zanetti concluded his comments by reflecting on the dramatic encounter. Responding to Ahmed El Mohammadi's question about whether the match against Egypt was Argentina's toughest test, he said, "I believe it was the toughest match Argentina played in this World Cup. We were 2 goals behind and managed to come back. Egypt made life extremely difficult for us, and we had to work incredibly hard to earn that victory. I can honestly say it was our most difficult match of the tournament." Lamine Yamal's comments on Messi after the World Cup final. "Before this match, I said that facing Messi was a dream. Now that it's all over, I can say that it truly was a dream, and at the same time, the toughest challenge of my life. I don't know how to explain what I felt standing on the pitch and seeing him in person. The man I had watched thousands of times on a screen, whose movements I tried to imitate as a child playing in the streets, was now standing right in front of me in a World Cup final. There are moments in life that are impossible to fully understand while you're living them, and without a doubt, this was one of them. But let me speak from a professional perspective, putting emotions aside. Facing Messi is the hardest thing I've ever experienced. I'm saying this because I lived it myself, not because of what other people have said or what I've heard. You're not just facing a player. You're facing someone who thinks faster than anyone else on the pitch. You feel like you've closed one passing lane, but he finds another one you didn't even realize existed. You try to predict his next move, but he does something that never even crossed your mind, or your coach's. There was something else I realized today. Messi doesn't seem to put in a huge amount of effort, and that's exactly what makes him so dangerous. Other players look like they're fighting, sprinting, and battling physically. He moves calmly, and then suddenly everything changes. I've never seen anyone remain so calm in the middle of chaos. And here's the part that defies all logic. This man is 39 years old, and I'm only 18. There's more than a 20-year age difference between us. Yet he was still the most influential player in the entire World Cup. Not just among his teammates, but among every player representing every national team in this tournament. Something like this has never happened in football, or at least, not in this way. In this sport, being 39 usually means you're nearing the end of your journey. It means playing only a few minutes, relying on experience to make up for declining physical ability, and being there more because of your name than because of your actual influence. That's what we've always seen in every generation, and that's what we were taught while growing up in the academy. But Messi completely shattered that rule beyond any doubt. He's not just a player taking part in the tournament, and being respected because of his history. He was the center of the entire tournament. I'm saying this with complete honesty. According to everything we know about sports, this should be impossible. To be that age and still be the most influential player in the World Cup among hundreds of players who are in the prime of their careers. It goes beyond everything we understand about the limits of the human body and time. More than once during the match, I asked myself, how is this even possible? And I couldn't find an answer. And the reality that has to be said clearly is that Argentina reached this final because of him. I'm not taking anything away from his teammates. They're outstanding players who fought in every match and gave everything they had. But anyone who followed Argentina's journey throughout this tournament knows exactly who created the decisive moments, who turned matches around when everything seemed lost, and who carried the team on his shoulders whenever they needed someone to do it. It was Messi who brought them here. And that's not an exaggeration. It's simply a reflection of what actually happened. I played against him today, and I finally understood why people say that football is messy. Before this, I never truly understood that phrase. I thought it was just an exaggeration from his fans or words driven by emotion. Now I understand it on a much deeper level, because he plays the game in a way that makes you feel as though football itself was created for him. Or perhaps he has reshaped the sport in his own way over the past 20 years. There have been many great players throughout history, and no one denies that. But there's a huge difference between being a great player and becoming the embodiment of the sport itself. Messi is the latter. When you watch him, you don't see a player playing football. You see football in its purest and most beautiful form. I also realized something else. My entire generation grew up watching Messi. He wasn't just a player we admired. He was the standard we used to measure everything. Every kid my age wanted to pass like him, dribble like him, and see the game the way he did. And today, facing him in a World Cup final felt like closing that circle in the strangest possible way. I leave this match with so many mixed emotions. But above all, I leave with genuine gratitude, because at 18 years old I experienced something that many players dream about throughout their entire careers but never get the chance to achieve. I stood face to face with the greatest player in history in the biggest match in this sport. I'll carry this night with me forever, not just as a beautiful memory to tell people about, but as a real lesson. Today I learned what it truly means to be extraordinary, and just how long the road is if I ever want to come close to reaching that level. The journey ahead is still very long, and I'm more aware of that now than ever before. Thank you, Leo, for everything you've given to this sport and for making an entire generation fall in love with football in this way. Comments from Argentina National Team players about Messi after the final. From inside Argentina's dressing room. The match was over, and an unusual silence filled the dressing room. It wasn't just the silence of exhaustion. It was the silence of people who understood that something had come to an end forever. One of the midfielders said, "We went into this match knowing what it meant to him. Every one of us stepped onto the pitch with one goal, to give everything we had for Leo. Not because he asked us to, because he never asked for anything, but because we felt it was the very least we could do for a man who has given everything to us." He added, his voice filled with emotion. "It's hard to imagine this national team without him. I've played alongside him for many years, and his presence has become something that feels completely natural to me. Thinking that this might be our last World Cup together is a feeling I can't even put into words." One of the defenders spoke sadly. "We all know that everything eventually comes to an end, but there are some things you refuse to believe until they actually happen. Leo at the World Cup has always been part of our national team's identity. Imagining the next tournament without him leaves an emptiness in my heart." He continued, "Throughout this tournament, we played for him. I know some people might think that sounds like an exaggeration, but it's the truth. When you're still running in the 90th minute, completely exhausted, you think about his face, everything he's given us, and somehow you find extra energy you didn't even know you still had." One of the forwards said, "Leo doesn't say much in the dressing room, but his presence alone is enough. When he's here, you feel like anything is possible. That's a feeling we won't find in any other player, no matter how talented they are." He added, We gave everything we had in this tournament, not only for the trophy, but also for him and for the people of our country. We wanted to give him the moment he truly deserved and bring our fans the happiness that matched their years of waiting. One of the goalkeepers commented, "Argentina's supporters are unlike anything else in the world. They follow us everywhere, fill the stands, and sing until they lose their voices. And we know that so much of that love is for Leo, and that gives us an even greater sense of responsibility." A senior player added, "I've played alongside him for many years. We've shared unforgettable moments and difficult times together. And I can honestly say I've never seen anyone wear this jersey with so much love. Even during the hardest moments, he never once thought about walking away from the national team. For that reason alone, he deserves everything we could possibly give him." He continued, with unmistakable sadness. "Thinking that this might be the last time we see him on this stage makes tonight feel different. I'm grateful that I was able to be part of his journey, but I'm also sad because every journey eventually comes to an end." One final message from Argentina's training camp. "What we want to say to Leo is simple. Thank you. Thank you for everything you've given to this national team, to this country, and to every one of us. We played for you, and we'll always be grateful that we lived in the same era as you and had the privilege of playing by your side. And to our supporters, we gave you everything we had. Every drop of sweat, every bit of pain, it was all for you. Thank you for never giving up on us.